Today, we're going to demonstrate Card Present from VelocIT Business Solutions. This package is a replacement for our native payment solutions and includes native payments, Card Present, as well as Click to Pay. Today, we'll be focusing on Card Present. Once this package is installed, you will notice you'll have a VelocIT Solutions menu tab, which will have all of the configuration options needed for your configuration. Once you have set up the processing center, you would then go into Configure Terminals for your Card Present. You will select your processing center for Card Connect, decide whether or not you want accounts receivable and/or sales order enabled, and click Save. Then Update Terminals. Update Terminals will download a list of all the available terminals to your merchant account. The terminal names are editable, so they come in by default having the same value as the HSN column, and you can then come in and edit them to whatever you would like them to be. Click Save. This description is now going to show up on our following screens when we are processing payments. Another advantage to our system here is if you do not wish to use this in sales ordering and you disable it, it will essentially unpublish this customization so that it will not put on your system just for it to go in and say, we don't need to do anything. I'm going to go ahead and enable this backup for us for our demo. But any of our customizations, if you're not using a portion of it, you can just disable in the setup and it will deactivate that portion of the customization. Next, we'll go ahead and jump into doing a sales order and select a customer. We'll use New York International Beauty. I'm going to demonstrate on this customer. They have no saved credit cards, just the stock, cash, and check, and Fedwire. I'm going to go ahead and add a stock item. We're going to do 100 Powerades. I'm going to come over here and get us a price, $1. Our total will be 100. Hit Save. For payment settings, choose Card Present. You'll see that we have a new box here for selecting our terminal. I'm going to go ahead and choose my SIGCAP terminal, and I'm going to authorize this payment. Okay, I'm entering and putting the card in, signing and okaying. We'll see that the transaction will complete and come back and fill in the rest of our payment information. You'll see now that it is saying that it is pre-authorized, been approved. We have our transaction ID. Notice authorization is now grayed out. We can either capture this now, void it now, or move on with a regular process. Traditional process would be that we would go ahead and either create the shipment by hand. I'm going to go ahead and do the quick process, but essentially we would create our shipment, confirm our shipment, and prepare our invoice. So I'll go ahead and do that. As you can see, all the documents were created. I'm going to jump into our SO invoice here and come back to our payment information. You can see all the transaction information from the sales order has transferred over. We're going to go ahead and capture this payment on this side, and we're going to release. You'll notice after we release all the credit card processing, the information will go away, and it will be applied to our payment. I'm going to click over to Applications, and you'll see here is the payment that was created. We come into the payments, and we can look at our application history and see that it was applied to the invoice. We can then go to order processing information and see both the authorization as well as the capture history that was done to this entire order from end to end. If you were going to do a refund or a void, you would essentially void the transaction and then void the credit card. If this was done the same day, the transaction would be just canceled. If it was done across business days, it would be refunded. You would see that accordingly, a refund instead of a void on the transaction type. Next, we'll do sales order invoice processing. I'm going to go to sales orders and invoices. Not terribly often you create them by hand, but if your process does involve that, you can create your sales orders by hand or interact with your sales order directly. I'm going to go ahead and choose the same customer we just did. I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to put in a miscellaneous charge for, let's say, $101. I'll save that. Come to our payment information, switch it to Card Present. Actually, I'm going to show you here. This is the card we had just saved from the previous transaction. It shows up on our list as something we can charge directly, but we're going to go ahead and select our terminal again, and we're going to do just a direct capture. Entering my card. Moving it. We see all the credit card processing information down below. Once we release the invoice, this information will go away, And under the applications, we'll see that the payment has transferred to an AR payment. Again, see the AR or the SO invoice for application and all of our credit card information. As demonstrated before, you can also void that payment if necessary. That concludes SO invoice. Next, we'll do an AR payment. I'm going to go ahead and create a new invoice for our customer. We'll do another miscellaneous charge, $101 again. In this case, this is again standard Acumatica processing, but just so we're all on the same page, notice we cannot enter a payment until we release it. So we'll go ahead and do the release. I'm going to enter a payment, change this to card present. Again, we could choose one of our saved cards, or we can just do the card terminal. I'm going to then capture that payment. The terminal asks me to input my card. Removing my card. I am now showing our amount applied to the card. You'd see the transaction information here on the credit card side. Do our standard release. Again, as before, if necessary, you can void credit card payment. That concludes AR payments.